Recently, I received a question from a reader of my new book, I Am the Love That Flows Through Me. Because the question is an important one, I've decided to answer it here. This was the question. Early in the book, you speak of attachments as bandages that we wrap around our vulnerable self, but which then compromise living our truth. What about attachments to people we love or to God? Are all attachments bad? In order to understand the role of attachments in our spiritual unfolding, we need to start with what the novelist Milan Kundera described as the unbearable lightness of being. Hildegard von Bingen famously described herself as a feather on the breath of God. But most of us want nothing to do with this degree of lightness and insubstantiality. It leaves us far too vulnerable. And so we wrap up our fragile, naked self in bandages in an attempt to reduce our vulnerability. These bandages are the stuff of our false self. Early on in life, we learn that our value depends on what we have, what we can do or have done, and what others think of us. But there are many other things that we can also use to wrap around our naked self in order to make us feel more safe and more substantial, perhaps more important. These include things like our reputation, our dreams, our plans, our causes, our convictions, and of course, our physical possessions. Any of these things might be good when they're held lightly, but they become a curse when they're grasped by clenched hands and viewed as me or mine. When that happens, instead of possessing these things, they possess us. The issue is the nature of the attachment. And this brings us to the nature of true love. Authentic love protects us from clinging attachments, regardless of whether the object of our love is a prized possession, a lover, a flag, a cause, or a god. Authentic love leaves no room for possessiveness. It leaves no room for loving others for our own sake. It leaves no room for hiding behind the things we wrap around our vulnerability. Bernard of Clairvaux, the 11th century founder of the Cistercian monastic order, understood this well. He described 4 steps or stages in the cultivation of authentic love. First, love of self for self's sake. Second, love of God for self's sake. Third, love of God for God's sake. But what could be higher than this? Well, this is the surprise. Listen to what Bernard of Clairvaux thought was the 4th and highest level of love. Love of oneself for God's sake. Why is this the highest? Because this then allows us to love others as ourselves. This is authentic love. Authentic love is love of everything and everyone, not for our sake, or even for the sake of the objects of our love, but for God's sake. But if we are truly to love God, we must ensure that our love is for the one who vastly transcends the petty and tribal gods we create in our own image, or who are created for us through bad theology. God is love supreme, the source of everything in existence, and the source of the love that flows into us and is intended to flow through us. This is the truth of our essential self. My thanks to the person who submitted this question. But please know I'm very open to hearing from others of you who've read I Am the Love That Flows Through Me and have begun the inner work I describe in this book. Inner work that's designed to help you align the truth of yourself with your identity. Please tell me where this has led you and ask any questions that are closely related to the book. You can reach me by email at info@cascadialivingwisdom.com. You won't receive an acknowledgement of receipt of your message, and I may not be able to respond to all questions asked. However, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, this channel, you'll be notified when new videos are posted and be able to see my response here to as many of the questions as I receive and am able to address. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to learning how this book has impacted your journey. My hope is that it will help you align your identity with the truth of your essential and deeply sacred self.